So it is April 9th, 2022 at 2:51 p.m. I just made some more angel hair pasta and leftovers of yesterday's seitan. I'm not going to even warm this up. It's okay though. And it's Vital Wheat gluten anyways, so there's also a little dab of that balsamic in there, along with tamari and garlic, shallots and ginger. So it's not like a little pasta that would get in here would do really that much harm, I don't think. Yeah. so it's Vital Wheat gluten anyways. Jeez. I also put 2 capfuls of the sesame oil in here. I've been measuring it by the cap to make sure no little fragments of glass get into the food, because this bottle fell out of the cabinet the other day. Little sesame oil gets on the outside of the bottle after I use it because I pour it into the cap. So, if you ever, drop the bottle that contains an oil, a cooking oil, sometimes you don't know whether or not it was from using it or if there may be a leak or something. So I've been pouring the sesame oil into the cap before I inspect it to make sure there's no little fragments of anything floating in there ahead of time. So instead of wasting the bottle based off of an assumption. So it's still good. I've been using it the last 2 days like that. Look at that. Look at this. It's beautiful. So, the pasta's hot enough to warm the seitan up. This has been stored at room temperature. It's nice. It's a good product. Good item. When this happens. But that's enough. Nah, I'll take some more actually. There. Just I'll spread it out inside with both hands. So there's enough there for maybe 2 more bowls possibly. 2 more servings worth is in there. This turned out tasting just like if you order takeout from a Chinese restaurant. Usually this style type of words, it would be the real animal protein. But this tastes almost like the real thing, but other than it being Vital Wheat gluten and a mixture of Vital Wheat gluten and I think it's garbanzo bean flour was mixed in there. It's a proprietary recipe from the brand that I was using it from. The brand that manufactures it. It's their own blend. Anyways, as with most products, they sometimes add something in there to make it a proprietary thing, But with the Mongolian beefless style broth that I make, it tastes like the beef and broccoli Chinese takeout that one would normally, that's the way it turns out. It would be good with some broccoli, but that's a cruciferous green. I can't really eat. I can eat some cruciferous greens within a small amount, or depending on how it's prepared. For instance, I can't eat cauliflower boiled, but I can eat it the cauliflower chips with my, let's say, special hummus that I make. otherwise it causes a bit of a slight reaction. Whereas just a small one. But I don't want that to, become a problem. So where with broccoli, I can eat broccoli, but I don't get the same reaction with broccoli that I would get with, let's say, cauliflower, but it's, let's say, one step between uh, the cauliflower chips and the cauliflower. The broccoli would be in between, that type of thing. All right, so yeah, I don't buy broccoli too frequently because it's just like I see it kind of like an extra. I don't eat it too frequently, but I used to. I used to eat it, regularly. It was kind of like the usual green on my plate when I was a kid growing up. So I may get broccoli florets one day and just add it in there. So it'd just be currently I may have to eventually save up for a place to, like rent or something temporarily, So I cut back and I tried to reduce the amount of spending because I have to maintain this extra 40 pounds. I don't really want to, but it's extra, unless I have a witness. Unless I'm with someone that would, let's say I was with the girl, let's say she grew up with me, she knew me being very skinny, not very skinny, but tall and slender, naturally. As a skater growing up and skated for 10 years, she would be able to be like, no, I eat dinner with him all the time, or like I make sure he eats. He doesn't have an issue. He's just naturally thin. He was eating extra in order to, make you guys happy, the extra 40 pounds. He was paying the roof over your heads when he could have been paying the roof over the both of our heads for several years or more. Actually, 20 years. So, yeah, it took me 15 years, though, to figure out how to gain that extra 40 pounds. Whereas after 15 years had passed, that threshold in my early 30s, it may have been a metabolism shift in my genetics, in addition to the B6 booster drink and the combined carbohydrates, and just eating plant-based. As soon as I switched over to veganism, I was actually able to prevent losing more weight, possibly. Whereas because I was having trouble digesting animal proteins, I was having allergic reactions and things like that. So thank goodness there's veganism to fall back onto. And then I had to figure out what ingredients in veganism I had to combine in order to gain the extra. It took me 15 years and then additional 2 to 4 years to actually gain the extra 40 pounds. But money goes towards that when it could be going towards, living with someone, obviously. It'll just be that way. So, yeah, eventually, maybe. Oh. Yeah, because they like to play games with people. They'll be like, last time we weighed you weighed an extra 40 pounds than you weigh now, and it seems like you're having a relapse of something, right? And then they freak. This is why it's like, but yet they're in denial of their own, like, unconscious addiction to saying something, that type of behavior. Their behavior of saying something is maybe considered a relapse. Well, wait. But then they're in denial also of someone's claims being like, well, I weighed 40 pounds less than you had on record or on file for 30 years of my life. I was considered 40 pounds less than what was last on file or something, you know. But they would be in, they're crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's good stuff. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just put it together, you know what I'm saying? I got it, for some reason, the Kindle shaking, the camera. I'd probably make a drink. I don't know if I have to do that right this second. Depends on how thirsty I become while eating it. Sometimes with the angel hair pasta, I only use 1 bottle of filtered spring water, and it, you know, I can eat most of it with less of it craving to drink a beverage with this food for some reason. Whereas with the other varieties of pasta, strangely, I feel like I have to actually drink something alongside with the food most, you know, for it to go down actually in some cases. It's just weird. I don't know. Yeah, well. Oh, God. Yeah, they, yeah, there is, what I don't like is they like to play as though, they consider someone, with their weight fluctuating